Preparing to live stream the meeting.
Lida, how are you? Good afternoon, Coach Munir.
Hi, Conan. How are you doing? Good to see you here.
I am fine. We missed you in today's morning mastermind.
Yeah,
And,
I was out.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Let's get. Are you a leader like Batman? Are you a leader? Do you know? Would you like to be a leader? Or
super leader?
Are you a leader? Would you like to be a leader? And what is a leader? Is Batman a leader? So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to welcome you to this session. We are going to be covering leadership secrets, and I am very excited to be sharing these secrets with you. Today, we're going to be discussing characteristics of effective leaders. I want to help you to become a leader and take your leadership skills to that next level. So, first of all, hold on, let me just pin myself. All right, cool. So first of all, I want to welcome my live audience, and if you guys have any questions, please at any point drop me, either put it in the chat or just unmute your mics for those of you that are on Zoom. But let's get going. I mean, first of all, let me ask you this, guys. What makes a magnet a magnet? What do you think makes a magnet a magnet? So feel free to unmute yourselves. Just let me know, anybody, what makes a magnet a magnet?
A magnet is magnet because it has a power to pull something towards himself or itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, excellent. And literally, if you had like if someone told you this is a magnet, but it didn't attract anything, if it didn't pull anything towards it, then it's not going to be a magnet. It's just going to be a piece of metal, right? Does this make sense? And so
yes.
When we talk about what makes a leader, right? What makes a leader? And I'm not talking about you, leader. What makes leader? For those of you that are watching elsewhere, we've got someone on the call called leader. So yeah, but what makes a leader a leader? And ultimately it's the ability to lead. Like if you can, like you can't just call yourself a leader without having a number of people to lead, right? So what makes a leader is having the ability and the people to lead, but then also actually leading people. Like just because you're in a position that calls you a leader doesn't mean that you're going to be a leader. Just like when we talk about the magnet, hold on, how do I go back on my slides? Give me a second. Just like when we talk about the magnet, if someone tells you it's a magnet, it doesn't make it a magnet if it's not attracting people, if it's not pulling something towards it. Does this make sense to everyone? So today I want to share with you what makes a leader, and we're going to be discovering leadership. Like what, how can you take your leadership to that next level? So first of all, how did I begin to discover leadership? My slides are all over the place. Hold on. Oh, yeah. So what makes a leader a leader? It's your ability to influence the thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors of the people that you lead. All right? Let me repeat that. A leader is someone who's able to influence the thoughts, the feelings, the actions and the behaviors of the people that they lead. So I'll tell you a very quick story. When I first finished university, I went my first job was doing door-to-door sales. And at one point in time, when I was doing door-to-door sales, I had the opportunity to, first of all, learn myself how to sell, etc. And then I had the opportunity of getting a team on board or starting to train people. And one of the people that I trained, like, I was like, at one point in time, I was like, hey, listen, you have to do this. Look, if you don't do this, then, you know, like, you don't need to be here. Like, I mean, don't do this job. And the guy was just like, okay, fine. I don't need this job. I'm going to go. Because door-to-door selling was literally a commission-based business. And so you, like, if someone didn't want to be there, like, there was no incentive. If you just said, you know, hey, you're not going to be able to work, they'll be like, okay, fine, I don't want to work, fine, like, see you later. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. Like, I was so used to, like, my notion of leadership in the corporate world, where, like, you don't do this, you're going to be in trouble, you're going to be out of a job. And my trainer, he came to me and he said, like, Munir, you know, this is not how you lead. Like, in order to get the most out of people, you have to, number one, set the example yourself, but number two, you have to motivate and inspire people to want to do this, to want to do the work, to want to get a result. And people have got to want this themselves, and you've got to motivate people despite some of the challenges that they face. Because when I was working in the UK doing door-to-door sales, I'm talking about knocking on doors, etc. in English weather. It was raining, and then you're only being paid on commission. You gotta motivate people to want to do that initially, especially while they're just in the training phases, because they're not seeing the results initially. So how do you motivate people? How do you train? How do you inspire? How do you get them to do enough of the work so that they stay long term and start to earn good money? And he said that's ultimately what leadership is going to be. So this is, by the way, this is this is me, and that's my trainer, a guy by the name of Richo. As you can see, I was almost as good looking as I am now. I mean, slight improvements since then, but so I want you to know that leadership is such an important skill. Now, why is it such an important skill? Because your ability to lead, if we talk about leadership as the ability to influence people's thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors, where else can you apply that in your life? If you are able to become a leader in one area of your life, you become a leader in multiple areas of your life. You will be able to influence your family, their feelings, their thoughts, their actions, their behaviors. You'll be able to do the same in your relationships. And is that going to be powerful? In fact, show of hands, if you could influence the feelings and behaviors and thoughts of your spouse, would that improve life a little bit? For those of you that are married, let me get a yes in the comments at least. So drop me a note, drop me a yes in the comments. Let me know. Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yes, of course, yes. People putting their hands up, everything. Yeah, like this is huge, because it relates to multiple parts of your business, your business, your life, your personal life, your relationships. So leadership is huge because it will affect multiple areas of your life, and that's next level. So but here's what a lot of people get confused when it comes to leadership. You know, a lot of people think that they get confused between leadership and managing. But managing is getting someone to do something, right? Because you've asked them to do it, right? When like managers, you get someone to do something because you're there, because you've asked them to do something. But a leader gets people to do actions when they're not there. Yeah, did you have a question, Kunain? No.
The slide says got mirror image.
Oh, you're getting the mirror image. Ah, I see.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Hold on. Let me see if I can adjust this. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Is this better? Has anything changed?
No, nothing changed.
Is that better?
Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's correct.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Although, okay. All right, let's let me just, I'm just checking something. Yeah, okay. All right, okay. Seems like everything's working now. All right, cool. All right, so a manager and leader are very different, okay? A manager gets people to do something, but a leader, and you know, you get a manager gets his people to do things and they do it because the manager is there. But a leader inspires people to do things when they are not there. When you're a leader, people will do things whether you're there or not, because they want to do them. They are inspired to do them. They feel inclined. They are inspired to do a lot of those activities. So a manager and leader are very, very different. Now, I want to also share with you some secrets that I've learned recently. How many of you have heard of, first of all, how many of you have heard of Michael Jordan? Just drop me a little yes. I want to know.
Yes.
Everyone's, yeah, cool. So Michael Jordan is like greatest basketball player of all time. So I was just watching on Netflix, they have this documentary. It's called The Last Dance. And it was about the last championship run that the Chicago Bulls had before Michael Jordan retired, etc. And it talked about it talked about Michael Jordan specifically in a lot of his context. Now, I don't know if you know, Michael Jordan, literally the best basketball player of all time. Like, he has achieved so many amazing things. And when you learn about him, he was so dedicated to his craft that he would literally practice thousands of jump shots every single day, and every single day off that he would be practicing thousands of jump shots every single day. Now, when he got into the Chicago Bulls, like, he came in, you know, he took a break partway through his career, and Chicago Bulls lost one of the seasons because, you know, like, Michael Jordan wasn't there that season, etc. And he took that so personally. And then he went and he started leading the team, and he would make sure that everyone would practice like a lot. He would hold people to high standards. But this is the key, and this is what leadership is about. He was an amazing leader as well, because he would not ask anybody to do anything that he wasn't willing to do himself. The reason Michael Jordan was so successful in not just himself as an individual, but also bringing a team together was not, he didn't just have high standards for himself, he would have high standards for everyone around him. He would make sure that everyone around him was playing at such a high level. And he'd make sure that, that he would be hard on his team. He would expect extremely high things. However, the leadership starts with ourselves. And that's why I tell you this, because when we talk about leading, who's the number one person that you have to lead? Write it in the comments. Who's the number one person that you have to lead before anybody else? Exactly. Yourself. Exactly. So everyone's writing yourself, myself. Yes, 100%. The number one person that you've got to lead before anybody else is yourself. And so that's because a leader's job is to influence. And influence starts with ourselves. When you influence yourself first, that is where the magic happens. All right. So why, like, one of the things that people come to me, for example, for is looking at how they can communicate more effectively, right? How they can take their communication or their video like to that next level, or etc. Now, one of the things that I might say to people is you need to practice a lot. You need to like push your comfort zone a little bit every single day. And I can say that, like, other people might be able to say it, but a leader tells people to do what they themselves are doing. I can congruently say to people, look, the thing that's going to take your communication to that next level, if you push yourself a little bit every single day and you push your communication comfort zones every day, I can congruently say that to somebody and help and inspire and lead people in that area, because I do a live video every single day. I go live on my YouTube channel every single day. And so I can congruently say that. But if I was, you see, if you're a leader, you got to be practicing what you're preaching, right? If you're a fitness coach, you can't be looking like you're the comic guy from The Simpsons, you know, like worst comic ever. You know, if you're a life coach, you can't be arrested every 3 months for like running around the street like with breakdowns and public indecency. The number one person you got to lead is yourself before we start to lead others. Okay, so is this making sense now, everyone? Is this cool? Yeah. All right, cool. Excellent. Yeah, and Smith is saying, yes, you do watch. Yes, excellent. Great. And so whatever area that you want to lead people in, whether it's your job, whether it's whatever, the number one thing is you got to lead yourself. You got to be the example that you want to portray in other people. So let's talk about 5 keys to leadership. 5 key principles to leadership. So I'm going to be sharing 5 key principles to leadership today. The first principle is one size does not fit all. So what do I mean by that? So like I said to you, when I first started my career, I used to do door-to-door sales, right? And on one of the first days that I went into when I first started learning, I would learn this whole script, this whole pitch by heart. And I would like, okay, I knew exactly what to say. And I'd go to the different doors and I'd be like, hey, how you doing? Hello, Mr. X. I am Munir, and Mr. Shafiq, you you this, and I just basically reading out what I memorized. And I wasn't getting results. And I asked my trainer, look, I'm kind of doing the pitch, etc. Like, can you help me out? What am I doing wrong? And he said, okay, let me come with you. Let's go to one of the houses and let me have a look. So next day he came with me. We went to one of the houses, rang the bell. Hi, sir, we're running around, etc., talking to all your neighbors, and he's just watching me. And all I'm doing is like, I'm just really like talking. I'm talking. And he's just like looking at me and just looking at me. And then the person, you know, they didn't buy or whatever, etc. So we moved on. And he said, look, watch this, Munir. Before I know exactly what you're doing wrong. So he goes to the next house. We ring the bell, and he says, "Hi, hi, we're working with the phone company, etc. I wanted to ask you, what's important to you about your phone company right now?" And he started to listen to their answers. And he said, "Okay, and what is it that you don't like about your phone company right now?" And he started to listen to their answers, and then he goes, "Okay," and then he just asked a couple more questions. And then he was like, okay, cool. All right, I understand. And then he used the sales pitch, but he changed little bits based on her answers. Like if she said she didn't want this, and he'd highlight and he'd be like, and guess what? When you use our company, you're going to be able to avoid this. And she said that she'd want this, and he'd be like, yeah, and you know what? And this is one of the things that you're going to be able to get. And he basically married up all the things that our product was able to do and what she wanted, or etc. And this is the key. One of the key principles of leadership is understanding that one size doesn't fit all. All right? One size does not fit all. Just because what motivates you does not mean that it will motivate. It will not. What leads you, what motivates you, what inspires you does not mean it will motivate, inspire, or help to lead other people. And so, hold on. Yeah. The shortcut to influence, the shortcut to influencing your audience and the people that you're leading is find out what already influences them. Let me repeat that. Your shortcut to influence is simply find out what already influences people. Okay? So you ultimately understand the person, the people that you're going to lead. So some of you might say, but isn't leadership about like groups? Of course. And find out what already influences the group. So for example, right now I'm talking to a bunch of Toastmasters, right? And what is our group identity? Okay, if you had to have one person that represents our group, what are their needs to be a great speaker? What are their wants and desires? And you can identify what are the group's needs. What are the things that influences the group? Okay, and so when you're speaking to a group, you're speaking to the group representative in terms of the group representative identity. If you could give our group an identity as a person that, so for example, I could say to you, you want to speak better, right? I'm talking to all of you, but I'm in my mind, I have a representative that represents the group. Does this make sense? So you find out what already influences people and you use that to influence them. Okay? So next, so we're going to do a very, very quick exercise. I want this to be an interactive session. We're going to do a very quick exercise. Let me just see how many of us. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm gonna put you into rooms of two people each. Okay, we're gonna split the rooms in, so you'll have you'll be with one partner, and all you're going to do is when you get into the room, I want you to just find out. It's literally a 2-minute exercise. Okay, we're not going to take too long, so just take about 45 seconds each side, and I just want you to find out why the person that you're speaking to chose that car to buy it. Okay, so you're just gonna, and because you see, one of the key things that you also find out is how we do anything is how we do everything. Once you understand like a person's strategy for like, let's say someone is I wanted something very comfortable, etc., then you'll find that comfort shows up in a lot of areas of their life. If they say that I just didn't want to I wanted something that would help me avoid the pain of taking it to the garage, the headache of not having a service contract, or etc., etc., then they want certainty, they want like peace of mind, and it'll show up in other areas of their life as well. So understanding the people that you want to influence, the people that you want to, is a huge thing. So we're going to do a very quick little breakout room, and in the breakout room I just want you to 2 minutes again, and all you're going to do is ask your partner why they bought the car that they bought. Okay, if they have a car, or if they don't have a car, why didn't they buy a car? I think does everyone here in this group have a car or drive a car? I believe so, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So give me a second and I will just do the breakout rooms. So into 3 rooms. Okay, cool. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay. And enjoy. Before I send you off, is the exercise clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Any questions on the exercise before I break you
No.
up?
No, nothing.
No? Okay. All right. You have 2 minutes starting now. Well, I said now, but I mean in a minute. Breakout rooms will close automatically in 2 minutes. Okay. Countdown will be 30 seconds. Okay. Open all rooms. Enjoy. And you should get a message to join the breakout room. For those of you, if you're watching this on YouTube or watching this live, we are currently doing a little breakout room. Okay. Shafiq, are you there by any chance? No. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in, we are currently doing a little exercise. Basically, this is a workshop, so people have to have some hands-on experience. And so our participants are currently in a room doing a little exercise with their partners. Boom, boom, boom. Let's look at this. Everyone's about to come back. Okay, cool. How was that?
Okay, that was cool. I found myself with leader.
Nice. So what did you guys discover about the people you were talking to? I know it was a very short one, but yeah, go ahead.
You want me to share, Munir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. See, what I discovered from Nabhana, she's a person who likes the visual things. She liked her car because the design, the color, and because it was unique. It's mostly like a feminine feeling, you know, because we always want to dress something which nobody has it, or have a car which nobody has it. So she's kind of the person, she looked at mostly the appearance of the car. Yeah, she was that kind of person.
Okay, great. Okay. So already you can see that there's some elements over there that you can tell that she's a more visual person in different areas of her life. Am I right? Would I be accurate? Would that be correct in my assumption, Nabhana?
Yeah, I like to be unique, actually.
Yeah. So and so you can see that, like, in order to lead Nabhana effectively, if you can find ways that would allow her to visually stand out in certain areas, that's going to be of interest. Would it not, Nabhana?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're already starting to learn little leadership skills. Very cool. Thank you very much for sharing, Lida. And Nabhana, did you want to?
Yeah. Regarding Lida, I think she's a practical lady. She would go for something doable. I mean, she can use every time, and she very considered about the budget.
Yeah.
She likes to. She doesn't want to spend a lot for unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I could find out about Lida.
Okay. Excellent. Anyone else want to go?
Yes. I was with this is Smita.
Hi, Smita.
I was with Toastmaster Samantha.
Yeah.
And we all know, and through her choice of her car, I could understand that she's a very goal-oriented person, an ambitious lady, and if she has a target, she drives her way to get that target.
Okay.
So that's what
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And Samantha, did you want to share a bit from your side?
Okay, yes, I was with Smita, and I understand that she's a very budget conscious person. She wants everything. She has a foresight of what she wants, and she wants to make sure that whatever she's doing is not going to impact whatever is going to go around her. So she will not spend unnecessarily on things that will not that she doesn't feel she needs to pay extra for. But at the same time, she doesn't compromise on getting the service that she wants to get.
So would I be correct in saying you're a little bit more analytical, Smita?
Absolutely. I'm an analytical person. Yes.
Yeah. And how do you feel like just by someone noticing that, based on that, and how long were you guys gone for? Like literally you got this in 1 minute, right?
Yes.
Wow. Right. And how does it feel for someone to actually say that, oh, so you're an analytical person? How did you feel when I recognized that?
Mind-blowing. I think you have a good way of like understanding other people also. Because
thank you.
By hearing the other person's views about me, you just quickly said that you're that I'm an analytical person. In professional also, in like in office also, people like would give me most of the work which relates to analytical as well as researching all
Yes.
these
Yeah.
presentations. Yeah.
And yeah, completely, because I can see that's your strength. You see, and remember, you see, leadership is understanding where people are at. Now, obviously, I've done this a lot of times before, so I understand the different personality types, and we're not going through that in great detail in today's session, but like I can teach you all of these things. Like literally, you can understand what to look for, and then you'll understand, is a person this or this, do they want this or this in different areas. But it's, and then once you recognize that in someone, people really appreciate it as well. I mean, just when I don't know if you noticed, but when I said to Smita, I said, so you're an analytical person, the tone of her voice lit up because of the recognition. Would I be completely wrong in saying that, Smita?
No, you're absolutely right, Munir.
and imagine, this was just after 1 minute of an exercise, and I didn't even do the exercise, right? You guys did it. I'm taking what you did, what you took, and I'm just adding a tiny bit on. And so this is very powerful. Imagine if you did this as a leadership skill. That's where the juice lies. All right. So this is huge. All right, cool. So let's move on to principle number 2. Okay. So first of all is understanding the people that you are working with, right? So you want to understand the people that you're working with. Now, conceptually, I've just shared with you that you need to understand them. Like basically when you join one of my programs, for example, I share with you the 10 different personality types that you can understand and how to discover, and basically what questions to ask in order to discover those. But the first step, understand people. Second step is your ability to motivate people. So what do I mean by that? Let me show you a very quick story. So a number of years ago, when I was living in Bahrain, I wanted to get in shape. So I went out and I got this book. At the time, it was like the best-selling book at the time. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get this book. And this is the book that actually got me a lot of results for a large period of my life. When I nearly had the 6-pack back in those days, but I was following this thing and for a long period of time. And what the book did is at the start, this is where it got me the real results versus some of the other programs that I'd done, is at the beginning, it asked me, why do I want to lose weight? Like to list out all the reasons I really wanted to do this. And so, and I listed out a whole bunch, and then it told me list out some more, like on the next page. And I was like listed out a whole bunch more. And I had to list out all the things, all the bad things that would happen to me if I didn't achieve what I wanted, and all the great things that I'd achieve if I did do what they were talking about. And what I found was, oh my God, like I started to get amazing results, like long term. And that was not because of the exercises. Like these exercises I knew already, right? Like I knew how to exercise. It's not, he didn't like explain anything like crazy, although there were some great tips and everything in there, but it wasn't like crazy revolutionary in that sense. It was just like it combined a number of elements, but the main part, like one of the main things it did was right at the start, it made you like amazingly crystal clear about why you wanted to get healthy. And it was made up of 2 components, what I wanted and what I didn't want, right? Like the things that, like I didn't want to, so I'd make this list out. So I in my list, I had, I don't want to show up at my family gathering. And I don't know how many of you have this aunt or uncle that they have no filter, you know, there's no like empathy, there's no it's just straight up like, oh, you got fat. You know, like, do any of you have that relative that just has no filter and literally just goes, oh, what happened? You became fat. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't want to show up at Eid and look at my aunts and uncles and them say this to me in front of all my cousins. Like, that was something I didn't want. But then what I did want, remember, these are the days where I'm young, single, and ready to mingle. And I'm like, you know what? I want to go to the beach this summer and be like, and then just stand there like, hey, yes, you can look, take a picture, but talk to my agent. You know, like, I would, not exactly that, but you get what I'm saying. And I was like, that's what I wanted. So I said, okay, I got clear on what I wanted and what I didn't want. And that's what literally pushed me in the long run, because I'd sort of review it every once in a while. A great leader understands what motivates people, what they do like and what they don't like, what a person does want, what a person doesn't want, and uses that. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm using that one a bit later. But uses the understanding of people's motivation in order to motivate people. So discover the power of leverage. You want to motivate your guys, find out what makes them happy and what pleasures they want to get and what pain they want to avoid. So guess what? It is time for a little exercise. And guess what? You might even help someone in this group to identify what's going to help them. You might even help someone in this group become healthy. So very quickly, we're going to do another breakout room. And in the breakout room, you're just going to find out, why do you want to be healthy? You're going to find out from the other person, what do they want to avoid? Like, what are the pains that they want to avoid? And then what are the pleasures that they want to gain if they became healthy, right? And yeah, so then you're just going to find out what are the pains that they want to avoid and what are the pleasures that they want to gain from becoming healthy. And guess what? Just by talking about it with someone, you might actually help them to get healthy. I mean, we're only going to give you another couple of minutes, but like, if you did this for a bit long, you never know what could happen in a couple of minutes. A couple of minutes is a shorter version of 5 minutes of doing this, right? So start that conversation. Does this make sense to everyone? Just let me know. Give me a yes. All right, cool. Everyone's saying yes, ready. All right, cool. So let me do breakout rooms. We're going to do, I'm going to put you in 2 breakout rooms, and I will do it for, shall I do it for 2 or 3 minutes? Any suggestions? Any requests? 3 minutes. All right, I'm gonna give you guys 3 minutes. Okay, cool. All right, so notify me. Let's do it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, go and find out their pains and their pleasures. Go for it. Hello, whose iPhone? Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
Who's that? That's okay.
This is Tarika.
Hi, Charika. Cool. You're just in time. I'm putting you into a room. You're gonna join an exercise.
Okay.
Breakout room 3. Okay. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in live on YouTube, we are doing a live session. And so people are currently in a breakout room doing an exercise. So if you're tuning in live, we are currently doing an exercise in the breakout room. All right. All right. So if you're tuning in live, please note we are doing a quick exercise because I'm live streaming a workshop today. I'm live streaming our workshop today, so you should be able to. People doing an exercise. Yeah, boy. Okay, and people will be returning very, very shortly. All right, people back in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're back in the room. Okay, so how was that?
Time was very short.
Yeah, too short.
Too short for 3 people.
Yeah, it is a representation of doing this, and I appreciate that. It's you, especially you're like, hey, wait, I want to be coached. I want to. You're kind of like, I want to do this properly, but I wanted to give you just an understanding of what's involved in it. Now, who was talking, for example? Who spoke when you guys did it?
Smita and Sam both spoke.
Okay. And how did you guys feel after speaking about it? Samantha, do you wanna, or Smita, any of you guys?
Okay, because we were just gathering the thoughts before it was already time out. but
you had good points.
But the basic theme was, everybody wants, to have a peaceful life, mental and physical wellness. You want to be there for your family. These are the things that you want to be there for your family. For the special occasions, the healthier you are, the better your chances are to, for me, for my son, to be there for him, for his wedding, to see my grandkids. If I'm not healthy, I won't be able to have a chance to do that. And so that's one of them.
Now let me ask you something. Just by talking about it, did you feel, I mean, obviously it was just a minute, but did you feel a little bit more pressure to get healthier, out of curiosity?
Yeah, sure. I did.
It reminded the need to be healthy.
Yeah. And so that was just within 1 minute. Again, I do want to point out like how powerful this is, because we're talking about you were speaking for 1 minute in your group, right? And already I can even sense it. Like when I hear you talking about it, when you sense the bit of the passion, and you can see how important it is to you. And I can tell that a trigger for you is your family, or an important anchor is your family. Would I be completely off the mark by saying that?
No, you're
Absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely
Spot on.
right. And not just your immediate family, but long term, your family long term is so important to you. So because you're looking at not just your kids, but being around for the grandkids, being able to play with them. So if I was to lead you, or to coach you, or to whatever, I know that if I want to inspire to move, to take action, to etc., I want to talk about the pains that you want to avoid, because that's the way that you were speaking. You were talking about how you didn't want to miss this, you didn't want to this, etc.
Yeah.
And then I'd also so I'd talk about some of those pains, but then I'd start talking about imagine how like you and your grandkids like running in a field and playing with them, and like you playing catch. How cool would that be, right? And how does it feel when I ask that question?
Yeah, it
Inspire.
feels, yeah, it's inspiring. It's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's deep.
Yeah. And this is a lot of like what leadership is about. And again, like we got to appreciate that this is just literally 1 minute, but
Basically, you connect with a purpose, something like something I really want to.
100%.
It would be lovely to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because like what we were talking about earlier, Sharika, is that for one of the keys for leadership is understanding what are the levers, how to motivate people, how to inspire people to push past, especially things that are uncomfortable, right? Like sometimes, like leadership is not saying that everything's going to be easy. For example, I'm not going to tell you like, hey, working out is, you're going to like love every minute of it, for example. But like to connect you with the purpose, to connect you with your why, to connect you with why it's going to be good, or what you want to avoid. And like, so I make the pains and pleasures that are going to assist you further more real, but the ones
Like
that are
benefits,
relevant
you
to
make
you.
the benefits more real.
Exactly. So is this making sense?
Does
Yeah.
that mean that like a leader should differentiate in a person, or in his viewpoint should differentiate between what the other person is more comfortable with, and the pain that the person like not comfortable, and avoid that? Does that mean that like you have to avoid with, like,
Yes,
if you are a
yeah,
leader,
you want to
you
help
should
a person
understand.
avoid the pain that they, yeah, exactly. You want to help them find ways to avoid, like find out what pains that they want to avoid in an area that they want to get results in, and what pleasures that they want to get, right? And then connect a person to that, right? So, and then also, again, what we also want to do is, remember, leadership can be a one-on-one, but it can also be to a group. And when we talked about the group identity, or the group the group avatar, so like a person that represents the group, what does someone want to avoid it? Like for example, in Toastmasters, so like you want to avoid like going on stage and looking like completely messing up what you're talking about, right? Or going blank in your mind, or like these are some of the things that then you start talking to the pains and the pleasures of the group avatar. So if you can speak to a group and speak to one but address all. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So okay, so that was principle number 2. And like I said, principle number 2 is about finding out what motivates people so that you can push people, and your 2 levers are the pain and pleasure. At its most basic, I teach multiple more elegant ways to think about how to persuade, but at its core, it's 2 things: pain and pleasure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, principle number 3. So let's look at principle number 3, and that is discover the stories that people are telling themselves. All right. So discover the stories that people are telling themselves, because usually that's where you'll find the obstacles. All right. So what stories are people telling themselves? Are they the
That's you.
hero or the and so when I talk about discovering the obstacles, the reason I tell you that is because so many people have stories that are standing in the way of their success, right? Getting comfy. All of us have little stories of why we can't do this, or how we're not good, or what's wrong with us, or this or that. And the reason I've got this picture again of when I was doing my door-to-door selling days is when I started my job, I used to tell myself, oh, but I'm just like, because I did door-to-door sales in the UK, right? Remember, I grew up in Oman. I'm an Omani boy, like, and I used to say to myself, oh, I'm just an Omani boy. Like, how am I supposed to be as good as all these English guys? This is their country, etc. I've got a bit of, like, you know, I had a bit more of an accent than everybody else. I didn't have the skills, like I wasn't educated enough, etc. Like I used to tell myself all these little stories. But then what happened is one day we had a new guy that joined, a new trainee that joined, okay? I also used to say, but I'm younger than everybody else, all these things. I used to have all these stories. This new trainee joined. He was an immigrant. He was stacking shelves at Tesco's. He had a bad accent and he was younger than me. And this guy went in and killed it. He did amazingly well. And I was just, and then, and all my, you know, like my train, I mean, of course I was happy for the guy. But, you know, there's a part of you inside that's going, what? If this guy can do it. And what did my trainer do? My Richard, like my trainer, he would come up to me and he'd go, like anytime I started kind of creating excuses, he'd go, wait, Munir, so you're telling me that this guy can do it, but you can't? And I couldn't bring myself to say yes. Like I couldn't, like I you know, I was just like, no, I mean, of course, if this guy can do it, then I can do it. You know, Kunain, Lida, like a few of you guys, you know, we do this coaching program. And sometimes people come to me and they say, you know what, like, oh, I don't know if I can coach. I don't know if I can coach. And then I always say to them, but you're telling me that this 15-year-old, because there's a kid, actually 13 or 14, this 14-year-old, he can coach. He's the youngest coach in the program. He can do it, but you can't? Are you telling me that you can't do what this 14-year-old can do? And every single time, you know, you ask that, people's boom, their mind shifts. And that's what this is about. Like, you want to destroy people's, or well, not destroy people's stories, but sometimes in people's stories, they are the villain, the bad guy, the ugly ogre, the whatever. and you just got to shift their thinking and like show them, you know what, you are actually the hero. You can even be this guy and be the hero. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I
basically win despite all obstacles.
Yeah, so ultimately you want to help people to redefine their experiences and find out that, oh, you know what, you are amazing. You are actually the hero of your story. If they've been through a bad time and they've been using that bad time to as the crutch, you know, oh, I couldn't do this because I was and for example, I couldn't do this because I was assaulted once upon a time, right? I was abused, I was assaulted, and I was whatever. And you go, wow, and you've achieved everything that you've achieved after going through that amazing, that traumatic experience. I mean, how did you do it? Like, what's your secret? And as soon as they start to shift their thinking from being a victim to being the hero of the story, for the person that, what's the difference between a victim and a hero? Both have gone through challenges. The victim is still suffering. The hero has overcome. So you want to be able to shift people's stories to get them to reframe, to show them that they can do this, to understand that they're the hero of their story. And when you do that, when you help people to discover that, then you can, they will follow you. They will want to follow you. That's what you become, a true leader. Is this making sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your ability to, and how do you do that? But sometimes it's not, like, you don't always want to be, oh, there, it'll be okay. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Sometimes it's challenging them, but you do it lovingly, right? You challenge them. That's why I say, like, my trainer, he wanted me to be the best. And so anytime I was having it, like, oh, I don't think I could do this, etc., he didn't come and say to me, oh, you know what, it's okay, man, you're gonna be okay, I'm sure you can do it. Sometimes he'd just challenge me, and he'd say, wait, are you saying that this person could do it but you can't? Sometimes it's challenging the person. Sometimes it's reframing, as I said, like shifting their way of thinking. Sometimes it's not accepting less than them, or sometimes it's just not showing them sympathy, but showing them that they are, like, being impressed, showing them that they are the hero, right? And that's so powerful. That's so powerful. As a leader, as a change worker, as someone that wants to impact others, as someone that wants to make a difference in other people's lives. That is huge. Cool? Is this making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Are you guys finding this useful?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Cool.
Yes, it's great.
Excellent. Good stuff. Okay. So let me go on to principle number 4. Yeah. Well, I was thinking, should I break it up? No. I'll breeze through the last couple. Principle number 4 is drive with a vision. Your ability to get people to take action half the time will come down to the vision that you have. So the reason I have this picture over here, let me just go back to this, right? The reason I have this picture over here, this is Tony Robbins. Me at one of Tony's events, and I've had the opportunity to go to a number of Tony Robbins events. And in December, I'm going to be going to I'm going to be, who knows right now, right? Like, inshallah, I was planning on it. But I volunteered to attend his event. Now, as a volunteer, because I've attended all his events, so now I can participate as a volunteer to help at the events. Now, what does that mean? His events, they go from about 10 a.m. till 2 a.m. Okay? Like literally crazy hours. If you volunteer to work at this event, that means you are volunteering to go and start work at like crazy o'clock and finish even crazier o'clock for over 40. So basically you're working like a madman for about 4 days, 4 or 5 days, like a madman with not much sleep, and you're not going to get paid. In fact, for me, I have to pay to fly to the US, then pay for my hotels, then pay for whatever, etc., and pay for my meal. I am investing a lot of money to work. But why do I do it?
Because you gain, there's a benefit for you.
100%. But why am I gaining? I've already learned the stuff. I've already paid to learn I've already paid to learn the material, right?
It's the experience, it's the energy, why meeting other people.
Yes. But ultimately, and all of that literally relates to the vision. The vision that the guy has, or or in terms of impacting a lot of people or creating a difference in other people's lives. That is a vision that I want to be a part of. That's something that's important to me. And yes, how do you impact people's lives? Yes, through the energy, through the this, through the that, through the transformations that I've had. I want to help others experience that too. And so I am willing, and you guys know, I mean, we live in the UAE. Everyone in this call is in the UAE. Yeah, everyone in this call is on the UAE. It's not cheap to fly to the US. It's not cheap to get hotels for over a week. It's not, but I would gladly do it because of the vision. I believe in that vision. So I am paying to work. Now, that's the sign of when you have great leadership and great vision. But what happens in most companies is
so you make followers.
What's that? Yeah.
So you basically make followers that they feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens in a lot of companies is companies want their employees to do a bunch of things, but then they don't. What's it called? But like a person only does it because, like, okay, how much are you going to pay me, right? Like, am I being compensated for this? Like, hey, are we doing, like, this is you're going overtime. Like, you ask someone to do something and they're like, but when you are able to lead with a vision, when you're able to inspire people with a vision, then you're able to make a massive, then there's some amazing leadership there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to have the ability to make people want to go all out on their own, make people want to do everything they can for you, for others, for whatever. And that is through a vision. Okay. So that was principle number 4. And now principle number 5 is passionate communication. So this is in this picture, I've got a guy called Russell Brunson over here. Russell Brunson, he's a guy that he's the CEO of or the founder of a company called ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels is and he's a great teacher. He's one of someone I've learned a lot from. Now, here's the thing. It's a technology company, right? So, and he essentially has a software that kind of creates websites, and his software is the most expensive out there from all the builders. Now, I've gone and like I've been trying to build my sites for a while and build my membership sites and everything, and I've used a number of different tools in the past, etc. And I'd heard of him, but I was like, you know what? No. I'm not even gonna look at this because it's the most expensive. That's all I thought about. It was the most expensive. And you know, a lot of these tools out there can, I'll be fair, could do some of what his tools do. But then one day I was like, okay, I got an opportunity to check out one of his webinars, etc. And he spoke so passionately, so passionately about his products, about helping people, about how to get further faster, you know, when it comes to like online building, etc. That through that, just through his passionate speaking, I joined his program. I bought his software, ClickFunnels. And the crazy thing is, like I said, it's the most expensive out there, but I'm so happy with it versus any other one because he is so passionate and he comes and communicates with people very passionately all the time. And he believes in his product so much, and he believes in you getting success with his product versus anything else. Whereas the other ones, I mean, like you get the software, it does the job and everything, but nobody's coming and communicating with you. And because no one communicates, fine, no big deal. But my level of satisfaction, even though I'm paying like maybe 3 times as much as any other program, I gotta say, it really taught me the power of passionate communication in terms of converting people, in terms of leading people, because he's created a movement and leading people to get results. And so the power of your passion when it comes to communicating is so important. You know, if you want someone to change their lives, if you're talking about transformation and the fact that you can transform and everything like that, but if you're just going, so I believe that you can transform your life. It's very possible for you to transform and change your life. Does that inspire anybody? Does anyone want to follow you? No. But if I start saying, look, I swear to you, look, I'm not saying anything like crazily new, by the way. Like all of you know that like you can transform your life if you really want to. But if you say it when you're like, and I swear to you, all it takes is you sit down with someone, you go through all the things that you want in your life. You can transform your life. And it can just like sometimes it just takes a day for you to just change your direction. And that's all it takes. Like all of a sudden you feel a little bit more, whoa. But I've said exactly the same things. But communicating with passion, that's what makes amazing leaders. Is that people want to follow them because they are inspired by the passion in which someone speaks. Does this make sense?
Yeah, absolute sense.
Great.
But
does anyone have any questions?
What was the first leadership principle I missed?
So let me tell you, the first leadership principle was one size doesn't fit all. So understanding the people that you're going to lead. And we did a little exercise for that, which was, and it was literally just asking one question. Basically, the first principle is is essentially understanding that the shortcut to influencing someone is finding out what already influences them. And the whole point of today that I want to reiterate and we'll kind of end with this is, you got to remember that ultimately, leadership, we think of leadership as and persuasion and influence as completely different. However, really they're very linked, because leadership is your ability to significantly influence the thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors of the people that you are leading. Okay, so that's basically what we've been talking about. So with that, those were the 5 key principles of leadership. And I just want to ask, were there any other questions that anybody's had?
What is coming to my mind, Munir, is that now with the going forward with the post-COVID scenarios, business landscapes are dramatically changing. Now in that new landscape, and we all know now, very commonly the word is being used as a new normal. In my opinion, it's normal. So we have to face a new world, full of uncertainties, full of doubts, and it's going to create lots of cognitive complexities within the leadership. So within my company, what we are trying to ensure that the leadership must have very strong mental resilience, because ultimately challenges would be lots of uncertainty. You know what's going to happen. So that's one of the very important and critical area to develop, and that comes through personal transformation, coaching, etc. So that has become, I believe, a very critical element in terms of the leadership required post-COVID.
And this is, I think you're amazingly correct, right? Like, here's the thing, right? At this moment in time, there are more challenges than ever before. But leadership is not about it's not about there not being challenges. It's like navigating people through the challenges. So I'll give you an analogy, right? I'm a pilot. In fact, hold on. I'm a pilot. All right. Oh, and as a pilot, there is going to be, like, I want to help take you from A to Z. Now, I'm not saying there's no turbulence, there's no whatever, but it's about helping navigate through it, to overcome it.
True.
Now, when we talk about the thoughts, so influencing people's thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors, right? That's what leadership is about. How are people, what is a good leader going to do? A good leader is going to understand how you are thinking when challenges occur, and help you to shift your thoughts from negative to positive thoughts. They're going to look at how you're feeling when challenges occur. And a great leader will help you to feel better despite some of the challenges, to overcome loads of the different areas. And in doing so, a leader will help you by changing your thoughts, by changing your feelings, to take better actions. And in turn, create better behaviors in the long run. So it's not the absence of challenges. A leader cannot affect the challenges that you'll face, but they'll help you to navigate through those. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. So from
navigate, like my pilot.
Go ahead.
So from what I understand, Munir, is what you're discussing now are the leadership principles, because
That's
the
correct.
speaker who just now spoke of a valuable point. So what you're saying is those are competencies rather that will help to deliver the principles. So like you will see the mental toughness in the stories we tell ourselves. You will, so it's kind of embedded in those things. So
and obviously one of the most important things that I forgot to say is, number one, who's the first person that we got to lead?
Ourselves.
Me. Ourselves. In order for you to be an amazing leader, you got to lead yourself first. And that's you can't influence people's thoughts. You can't influence people's thoughts unless you can influence your own first. You can't influence people's feelings unless you influence your own first. Maytha's joining us.
So what I wanted to add on, Munir, is that yes, the leadership is all about managing the challenges, and it's all about managing the emotions of self and others. Now, going forward, since because of various uncertainties, like Corona being invisible has made various elements of the business invisible. So when there are things are uncertain, the challenges becomes more tougher. And now with that scenarios, it becomes more challenging for the leaderships to manage new challenges which are invisible.
So I want to touch on this very quickly. Let's go back to stories, right? The bigger the enemy, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the hero. You see how my hair goes?
Wow, I like this.
So the bigger the enemy, the bigger the hero, right?
Eyes are awesome.
And as a leader, the bigger the challenges that we face, the bigger the leader that you need to be. And that's where we grow. That's where we shine. A leader isn't, a great leader is not going to be defined by good times, right? By the easiness. Like a hero's story isn't remembered because, everything, the sun was shining, they were sitting at home and they had everything that they want. That's not a story, right? There's no hero.
You're right.
There's no hero there. There's no story there. There's no challenge there. Nothing to overcome. There's no leadership being tested. Your hero's journey as a leader involves overcoming challenges that people haven't faced before. And that's the definition of a challenge to a certain degree. That's what makes a worthy opponent. That's what makes you the greatest hero that you can be, facing challenges that you've never faced before. Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So I think sorry, are there any more questions before we wrap up?
Yes.
Yep. Go ahead. Who's that?
It's Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Yeah.
Okay, so I was just looking at one of the earlier secrets that you shared, that to be an effective leader, you need to know what motivates your team. When you find that out, it makes it easier to know how to motivate them to get to, so that you can all have the same vision. Now, what are some of the strategies that you would recommend on finding that out? How would you go about finding out what motivates people?
Okay. I go over this in quite a lot of detail in a couple of my by the way, so Just a very quick plug. If you guys want, do check out, I have a website called unconsciouscommunicationsecrets.com. I do give a couple of free giveaways. And also on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Munir. You should see, like I have a number of videos that go over these in detail. Now, at a top level, what can you do? Number one is your ability to read people is one of the ways that you understand people. So your ability to read read facial expressions, read emotions, read what body language means, etc. So that's one way of understanding people. The second is understanding personality types. Okay, are they this is something that in NLP that's called meta programs. And I'll give you one very quick example of I think there's about 8 or 9 meta programs that I teach, but I'll just give you one example. So if I said to you, what's important to you about about a car, for example, right? And you'll say, someone might say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And another person might say, you know what, I just don't want to have it break down. I don't want it to have to go to the garage. I don't want to have to deal with like paying all these bills, etc. One person will be someone that is a towards person, and one person is what we call an away from person. So in terms of a classification, some people are people that move towards something. They are more clear about what they want, and some people are very clear about what they don't want. Does this make sense by any chance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'll give you another example, or another metaphor to understand personality types, right? Have you seen, let me see, I think I might have, give me 1 second, I might have this, light, 1 second. So some people go like, have you ever seen these night vision goggles, like that they use in in the army for these movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here I found one. Okay, so let me give me a second. All right, so let's say, so this is like a filter, a camera filter, right? Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is another camera filter. This is another different kind of filter. Okay. All these are like random filters. Now, what you got to understand is that everybody has a different filter by which they view the world. Okay, does this make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everybody has a different filter by which they view the world, and you just gotta like some of these filters, like everybody's filter has a positive, like it has like pros and cons, right? Like infrared, it has pros and cons. I mean, it'll allow you to see at night, but in the daytime it wouldn't allow you to see, for example, etc. All you got to do is, so when I talk about understanding people, it's literally kind of understanding what filters they have. Everybody has filters. If you are able to understand what their filters are, then it will allow you to use the pros and cons to your benefit. Okay, does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I talk about meta programs, all we're doing is, or when you like ask, I give people a set of questions. You ask someone, and then you'll understand, oh, okay, this person is someone that is a towards person, as in they move towards what they want, but some people are motivated by moving away from what they don't want, for example. Okay.
Okay.
So that's just one of them. But like I said, I mean, you know, do check out like either on my YouTube channel or etc. Like I go over a number of these in greater detail.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. I hope that you found today extremely beneficial, and it helps you to become the leader that you are meant to be. And just remember that leadership is not very difficult. Like in essence, it's just understanding how you can influence the thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions.
I would like to add one more point here, as you mentioned, Munir, that because it's all about, you know, being a leader is all about our mental model, like how exactly we look around the world. So yes, everything starts with the thoughts, but as you know that before thoughts, it's all about our perceptions.
Beliefs.
Beliefs, and so as of today or pre-COVID, we had a very different sort of perceptions about the business, about the supply chain management, and all such things. Now the perception has entirely changed, because I know, being in working with Al-Busaidi company, the challenges what I have faced, now my perception has entirely changed. And now when the post-COVID, there will be invisible challenges. Now I'll have a very different perception, and accordingly I'll create different types of thoughts, and then accordingly different actions, and all the, you know, it's going to change the paradigm completely. So that shift of paradigm is required, and it's going to be tough for the leaderships, I believe. But of course, I mean, it is manageable. It is all manageable. So,
and that's what leadership is about. Leadership is about helping the people through the tough. So
then maybe, like, to add on to the point, what he's saying is agility is also a principle.
Yes.
To be agile and flexible to move with the changes.
True. And if you look at the banner, what I put, is basically of the resilience aspects of the leadership. I mean, you just see the gentleman how he's balancing at that, you know, peak of that. So it's going to be tough as far as the leadership is concerned. But of course, we all are optimistic.
Actually, Munir, what Mr. Kunain said is forward thinking. What's going to come forward for the leaders, I believe. Okay, but through these 2-3 months of our COVID times, I have realized that was extremely challenging for many of the leaders whom I had like. For me itself, if I am not in a position as a leader, when you say that there is a position for a leader, okay, he is in the higher position or so, but individually, each person has developed as a leader, especially during these challenging times. And I've understood that during like normal times, don't like you are not portrayed, your leadership skills never come out, or is there, but will not be. So I believe these 3 months or these 4 months that we have passed through is what I could understand the most beneficial time of a leader. Now going forward, it will be more
but you know, but you know, Toastmaster Smita, the other side of their story is, you might have heard, the many leaders, they surrendered, and some of my very close friends, they accepted, no, I can't. They, you know,
that's the difference. That's the difference. I understand. During these times, the actual leaders shine brightly. Comes out.
Exactly, and like that's exactly. And I think that you're right. Like ultimately, and of course, no one's denying the challenges. It's like I said, the size of the challenge determines the size of the hero.
True.
And like if you remember, one of the slides I showed at the beginning was where is it? Let me go back very quickly. Where is it? I think Okay, I can't find it. I closed. Looks like I closed my. Wait, I'll just open it. But yeah, one of the first slides I showed was the magnet, right? What makes a magnet a magnet?
True.
Right, and we spoke about this, and a magnet is a magnet because it is able to attract metal. If a magnet is not attracting metal, then it's no longer a magnet. Now I get it, and I don't want to sound how do I put it, like insensitive to people's challenges. However, like, a leader is a leader because they are able to lead people through the thing, and a hero is a hero because he's able to overcome the challenge. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the hero, or the bigger the leader, right? And if someone gives in, then they're not a hero yet. And the key word here is yet. If they've given up, people can give up, but then give up giving up.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
and that's when their leadership qualities can grow, their hero qualities can grow.
True. That's what my takeaways is that when we need more heroes.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do, especially in these times. We need more leaders. We need more heroes. And in tough times, we need more heroes and leaders, for sure. All right.
By the way, quickly, I couldn't, if we introduce quickly our audience, what I can realize that TM Smita is Toastmaster. I don't know which company she works. Shafiq, can we have a quick
everyone
introduction?
here is, this is our Toastmasters. This is Ittihad Toastmasters.
Okay.
Yeah, I invited you to join us as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's my workshop project, because I'm my final one in gold. So that's why I invited you, because I knew you'd love this topic.
Yes,
so I did invite you at the last minute. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for this session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and I hope that it will take you to becoming an amazing leader and impacting more people's lives as we move forward.
Sure.
I thank you all for joining, and for those of you that are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you on another video very, very soon. Thank you all, and I'll catch you on another video very soon.